Becky Lynch's daughter dies of cancer, leaving her devastated. Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we've got some truly surprising and heartwarming news from the WWE universe. In the world of professional wrestling, few names resonate with as much passion and legacy as Becky Lynch. Known as the Man, she has become one of the most iconic figures in WWE history. A trailblazer who shattered glass ceilings, headlined WrestleMania, and captured the hearts of millions. But outside the bright lights of the squared circle, Becky is also a wife and, most importantly, a mother. This is the heartbreaking story of how Becky Lynch faced the unthinkable, the devastating loss of a beloved daughter to cancer. It is a story that goes far beyond wrestling, a story of love, pain, resilience, and the unbearable silence left in the wake of tragedy. Today, we walk through the timeline of events, the emotional impact, and how this loss has forever changed Becky Lynch, her family, and even her connection with fans worldwide. Becky Lynch as a mother. Becky Lynch, born Rebecca Quinn in Ireland, had always dreamed of wrestling greatness. But in 2020, she stepped into an entirely new chapter of her life when she gave birth to her daughter, Rue, alongside her husband, fellow WWE superstar Seth Rollins. For Becky, motherhood was a life-changing moment. She once described the birth of her child as a bigger joy than any WrestleMania victory could ever bring. From the very beginning, she wanted to give Rue a life filled with love, laughter, and security, something she herself had fought hard to achieve. Fans quickly saw a different side of Becky, not just the fierce competitor who took no prisoners inside the ring, but a gentle, nurturing soul who would post little glimpses of her new life as a mother. Pictures of Rue were rare, as Becky and Seth both valued privacy, but whenever Becky spoke of her daughter, her words radiated pride and warmth. Motherhood didn't just shape Becky as a person, it also reshaped her career. She balanced the grueling demands of being a top WWE superstar with the responsibilities of raising her daughter, and fans admired her even more for being able to juggle both. But beneath the surface of this seemingly perfect new chapter, an unthinkable storm was brewing. It began with subtle changes. Rue, usually energetic and full of laughter, started becoming more tired than usual. At first, Becky and Seth thought it was just normal childhood exhaustion or maybe a seasonal illness. But as weeks passed, the signs became harder to ignore. Doctors' visits soon became frequent. Tests were run. Becky, always the fighter, remained hopeful, telling herself that whatever this was, it could be fixed. But nothing could prepare her for the devastating words that would follow. Her daughter had been diagnosed with a rare and aggressive form of childhood cancer. For any parent, such news is shattering. For Becky, who had fought against every odd throughout her life, this was the one battle she could not simply willpower her way through. From that moment, Becky and Seth's lives revolved around hospital visits, treatments, and prayers. The wrestling world, largely unaware of what was happening behind closed doors, continued to see Becky perform on TV. But backstage, she was living through the worst nightmare of her life. Chemotherapy, medications, long nights in the hospital. Becky was there every step of the way. Seth, too, stood strong beside his wife and daughter, often juggling his own WWE commitments with hospital visits. The couple chose to keep Rue's diagnosis private, shielding her from the spotlight and protecting their family's privacy. But behind the scenes, they leaned on each other in ways they never had before. The doctors did everything they could. For a while, there were small glimmers of hope, moments where Rue's condition seemed to improve, where she smiled again, and where Becky allowed herself to believe they might just overcome this battle. But the disease was relentless. As the months went by, Rue's health began to deteriorate. Her once bright energy faded, and her small body grew weaker. Becky, known for her fiery spirit and resilience, was reduced to tears almost daily. The pain of watching her child suffer was unlike anything she had ever endured. Wrestling fans often talk about Becky Lynch's ability to overcome adversity, her rise from being nearly fired to becoming the face of WWE. But no championship, no storyline, no career triumph could prepare her for this. Seth Rollins described in one private conversation with close friends that every day felt like a countdown clock we couldn't stop. Becky, meanwhile, began journaling her feelings, writing letters to her daughter that she hoped Rue would one day read when she grew older. Tragically, that day would never come. The final weeks of Rue's life were spent surrounded by love. Family and close friends visited often, and Becky spent nearly every waking moment holding her daughter's hand, singing to her, and telling her how much she was loved. The hospital room was decorated with drawings, stuffed animals, and photos, everything to make it feel less like a sterile place of suffering and more like a warm space of love. Then came the heartbreaking moment no parent should ever face. One quiet evening, with Becky by her side, Rue took her last breath. Becky clutched her daughter, whispering words of love as tears streamed down her face. Seth held them both, shattered. The world knew Becky Lynch as the man, a symbol of strength, rebellion, and resilience. But in that moment, she was simply a mother, broken beyond repair, holding her baby one last time. News of Rue's passing spread slowly. At first, only close family and friends were aware. WWE, respecting the couple's privacy, issued no immediate statement. But soon, Becky herself made the heartbreaking revelation on social media. Her post was raw and emotional, a simple message about love, loss, and the unfairness of life. She thanked the doctors who fought tirelessly, the fans who unknowingly gave her strength through their support, and most importantly, she wrote directly to her daughter, "You are my light, my heart, my everything. I will love you for every breath I take, for every day I live." The wrestling world was stunned. Fans around the globe mourned alongside Becky and Seth, flooding social media with messages of love and support. Fellow wrestlers, past and present, shared their condolences, with many expressing their heartbreak and offering prayers. For once, rivalries, storylines, and championship pursuits faded into the background. The WWE Universe united in grief for a child taken far too soon. Losing a child is the kind of pain that never truly heals. For Becky, the days that followed were filled with silence, tears, and an overwhelming sense of emptiness. She stepped away from WWE indefinitely, with the company fully supporting her decision. In interviews years before, Becky often spoke about how much wrestling meant to her. But now, nothing in the world could fill the void left by her daughter's absence. Seth, equally devastated, became Becky's pillar of support, though he too was shattered inside. Together, they leaned on each other, navigating grief one day at a time. The WWE Universe, known for its passionate fan base, came together in remarkable ways. Entire arenas held moments of silence before shows. Wrestlers wore armbands in tribute to Rue. Fans created artwork, videos, and tributes, flooding Becky's social media with love.